Good evening. Today I wanted to read to you one of my favorite stories by Dr. Seuss, The Sneetches. It's a good little story. Can't say much about it. You gotta read it. I'll read it to you tonight. But it's a great way to, introduce, I would say, a long-term conversation with with your little people about discrimination and stuff like that. But today, I'm gonna read you one of my favorites, The Sneetches by Dr. Seuss. Now, the Starbell Sneetches had bellies with stars. The plain belly Sneetches had none upon theirs. Those stars weren't so big, they were really so small, you might think such a thing wouldn't matter at all. But because they had stars, all the Starbelly Sneetches would brag we're the best kind of Sneetch on the breeches. With their snoots in the air, they would sniff and they'd snort. We'll have nothing to do with the plain belly sort. And whenever they met when they were walking out, they'd hike right on past them without even talking. When the Starbelly children went out to play, could a plain belly get in the game? Not at all. You only could play if your bellies had stars, and the plain belly children had none upon theirs. When the Starbelly Sneetches had Frankfurter roast, or picnics or parties, or marshmallow toast, they never invited the plain belly Sneetches. They left them out cold, in the dark of the beaches. They kept them away, never let them come near, and that's how they treated them year after year. Then one day, it seems, while the plain belly Sneetches were moping and doping alone on the beaches, just sitting there wishing their bellies had stars, a stranger zipped up in the strangest of cars. "My friends," he announced in a voice clear and clean, "my name is Sylvester McMonkey McBean, and I've heard of your troubles. I've heard you're unhappy, but I can fix that. I'm the fix-it-up chappie. I've come here to help you. I have what you need, and my prices are low, and I work with great speed, and my work is 100% guaranteed." Then quickly Sylvester McMonkey McBean put together a very peculiar machine, and he said, "You want stars like a Starbelly Sneetch? My friends, you can have them for $3 each. Just pay me your money and hop right aboard." So they clambered inside. Then the big machine roared, and it clonked, and it bonked, and it jerked, and it burked, and it bopped them about. But the thing really worked. When the plain belly Sneetches popped out, they had stars. They actually did. They had stars upon theirs. Then they yelled at the ones who had stars at the start. "We're still the best Sneetches, and they are the worst. But now, how in the world will we know?" They all frowned. If which kind is what, or other way around. Then came up McBean with a very sly wink, and he said, "Things are not quite as bad as you think. So you don't know who's who? That is perfectly true. But come with me, friends. You know what I'll do? I'll make you again the best Sneetches on the beaches. And all it will cost you is $10 eaches." "Belly stars are no longer in style," said McBean. "What you need is to trip through my star-off machine. This wondrous contraption will take off your stars, so you won't look like Sneetches that have them on theirs." And that handy machine, working very precisely, removed all the stars from their tummies quite nicely. Then, with snoots in the air, they paraded about, and they opened their beaks and they let out a shout. "We know who is who. Now there isn't a doubt. The best kind of Sneetches are Sneetches without." Then, of course, those with stars got all frightfully mad. To be wearing a star was frightfully bad. Then, of course, old Sylvester McMonkey McBean invited them into his star-off machine. Then, of course, from then on, as you probably guessed, things really got into a horrible mess. All the rest of the day on those wild screaming beaches, the fix-it-up chappie kept fixing up Sneetches. Off again, on again, in again, out again. Through the machines they raced, round and about again. Changing their stars every minute or two, they kept paying money. They kept running through it until the plain nor the Starbellies knew whether this one Was that one, or that one? Was this one, or which one? Was that one, or what one was who? Then, when every last cent of their money was spent, the fix-it-up chappie packed up and he went. And he laughed as he drove in his car up the beach. They never will learn, nope. You can't teach a Sneetch. But McBean was quite wrong, I'm quite happy to say, that the Sneetches got really quite smart on that day. The day they decided that Sneetches are Sneetches, and no kind of Sneetch is the best on the beaches. That day all the Sneetches forgot about stars, and whether they had one or not upon theirs. See? That's the best story ever. And it's really cool. It's really intellectual, even on like a little kid level. And so you could, like, I don't know, the conversations you could have about this story, they're just great. And then like every time you encounter some injustice or people doing prejudicial things, you could bring up the book The Sneetches and be like, hey, isn't this like the book about the Sneetches and the stars and the bellies and the discrimination and all that? And then it's a great conversation. I don't know. What do you think?